Gene, with the overall success that the athletic department has had in the last calendar year, does that make this transition a little bit easier, knowing that the foundation has been laid for something that could last a little bit longer than yourself?
Well, as you can tell by my opening, it's not going to be easy, but obviously this has been a great place, and it's never an easy time to leave, certainly, but with the staff that we've hired recently and clearly the success, you feel pretty good going out with when you know it's going to continue on an upward trajectory. I mean, there's no question that confidence I have in the staff and the coaches that have been hired and the people that are going to be here, that nothing's going to change, and our student athletes. Like I said, this isn't about one person. The old arm in a bucket of water thing holds true, particularly at NDSU. That I'm very excited about the future of this program for many, many years to come.
Gene, did you get a sense that this was coming? I don't know if you were actively looking, but after hiring a replacement for Craig and for Saul, was it something like this is as good as it's ever going to get this past calendar year?
Well, you don't want to look at it that way. I mean, obviously, to be able to leave with the success we've had has been nice. Certainly my goals personally and professionally have always been to be at the BCS level. And Gary Barta, like I said, has become a friend and a mentor. He started talking to me, several months ago about this position he may create. And in talking to, I do want to be a BCS athletic director someday. I had that as a vision when I was at Arizona State, and maybe the way to get about it is different for some than others. But again, as I mentioned earlier, how Iowa operates, who they are as an athletic program in the Big Ten. Their focus is very similar and very close to what we do here at NDSU, and my relationship with Gary, I think, will be easy to work with him. But it was a little bit of a surprise when he first approached me about it.
Do you feel taking this position at Iowa is a move up or a means to get to that goal that you just mentioned versus staying here at NDSU?
Yeah, I do, and some may not necessarily agree with that. I think the people in the business. Believe me, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to about this because I knew it was going to be such an agonizing decision. And those that I talked to in the profession, including Gary, have indicated that if the BCS route is the way I want to go, this may be the step I may have to take. And there are examples of that. Jeff Long, who's currently at Arkansas, was at FCS school and made a step to a deputy position at Oklahoma. But there's not a whole lot of step-ups from NDSU, I can be honest with you. No how they operate, who we are as a program. There are very, very few places that are a step up to NDSU, and I don't know if Iowa certainly is that because it's a Big Ten school. But in terms of who we are as a program, there are very few places that are step up. Well, obviously we knew the transition from 2 to 1 was going to be a challenge. We knew as our goal was to have that success level. I mean, if you ask some of the coaches in the room that were part of the transition, coaches like Amy Rulli and Bucky Mon and those kind of folks that were part of the transition, they said don't do this unless you're going to be successful. And I knew when I got here there's a very special place in terms of how they operate and who they are. And I felt once we got through the transition with the coaches we had, we were going to be successful. Now, did I ever dream of 3 national championships and multiple conference championships and super regionals and softball and the national programs of the track accomplished? I don't know that you can actually truly believe that, but you dream about it. And when it comes true, it's you got to pinch yourself and go, wow, that's pretty special.
What accomplishments are you most proud of, Gene?
Oh, boy. I would have to say, Mike, how we handled the transition and the immediate success that we had, and the fact that we were able to build so much on that early success that we're enjoying today. I think the group of student athletes that they're all going to be special. But that group of student athletes that got us through the transition, those 2 10-1 football teams, those young men and women that came here to be a national championship at the Division II level, that when we made the decision, we looked in their eye and said, guess what? You don't get to be a national championship. You get to be a part of building something. Those people gave a lot. And that group of student athletes and those coaches will always be special because they helped get us to where we are today. they're going to be in great hands. Whether that's, I don't know if this is legal or not, whether you're a recruit or a person considering NDSU, this is a phenomenal place. They've got great coaches, experienced coaches, new coaches. Like President Brashani, I know him and how he operates, and he will find an individual that will be phenomenal to lead this program. As I said before, whoever gets and I mean an opportunity to come in here and be the athletic director at North Dakota State is going to be very, very fortunate, because this is a phenomenal place and it'll continue to be successful no matter who's at the helm.
Gene, you talked about your ultimate goal here. Are you expecting a 3 to 5 year sentence at Iowa as well?
Well, I don't know that Gary would, but Gary and I talked about this, and he said, Gene, I want you to come here and be here for 5 to 8 years. But he said, if you're here, give me 2 at a minimum, and I want somebody whose goal is to be a BCS athletic director. That means I'm going to come in there and, obviously going to work hard and do everything I can to help him and make his, he's a very busy man. I think there's a lot of things going on in Iowa. I think it was in the press release. He's going to see a lot of changes in the near future. He thought this is an opportunity to help him, guide through those changes. But, certainly you never know. I mean, I didn't think I was going to be here at 13 years. I didn't think I was going to be at the Naval Academy 15 years. So I could get myself there and find out and I'm looking forward to it. For everything that I've heard and people I've talked to, Iowa City is a great place. It's a great college town. And the few people that I had a chance to meet while I was on my interview were phenomenal individuals. But my goal is to absolutely go in there and do as much as I can and hopefully someday be a BCS AD on that.
This is kind of dovetailing off what Mike asked, but what do you believe your lasting legacy is here in Fargo?
That I cry a lot? I don't know. I think, I don't know. It's tough to define. Those are hard questions to answer, and legacy seems to be too much at this point in time. But I hope when people look back and they see what we did at the Division I level, and I mean, because I get it when I just came back from NAC. I mean, people just scratch their head and can't believe what we've done. And again, it's not about me; it's about the coaches and the student athletes. And I think that'll be one thing is people said we couldn't do it, and you're never going to be successful, and you're just going to fail. And a lot of people have helped prove them wrong. And to me, I think that's going to be the most enjoyable thing I'll remember.
You're gonna hire a search firm, President Brashani, or will it be handled in-house, or how do you look for the next?
No, I don't think there's any necessity to invoke the delay and expense of a search firm. Again, this is a plum job on a coast-to-coast basis. It'll sell itself. And I anticipate that we'll have, as I said, an exceptional pool of candidates.
What attributes must the next candidate have?
You're looking at them. All you have to do is field across the breadth of our program, competitive, if not winning teams, with athletes who are students and successful at that side as well, and an ethical, clean program. And I'm hard-pressed to think of exceptions of that during the last 13 years that Gene's been here. That will be the model that we will continue to use, and it'll be the type of candidate that we will exclusively be considering to take over as our next athletic director.
How important is a football background? At a football type school?
Well, I think a breadth of experience is always important. Football, obviously, is a somewhat unique beast at any Division I school because of the breadth, the financial implications, the political implications, and such. So I don't want to make that an exclusive qualification, but at the same time, it certainly has to be one that gets a high priority.
What's the timeline for finding a new athletic director? Is there a target date that you have in mind of putting someone in place?
A saying I once heard is give them a time, give them a date, never give them a time and a date. So Wednesday at 2. Again, I think we're going to be able to move very quickly and efficiently on this. I don't see this being the typical university protracted search process. So a couple of months. I would like as early in fall semester as possible to have that new athletic director here or at least named.
Safe to say the football game with Iowa is still on in 2016 then?
Yeah, absolutely. Gary's still not happy about that, but yeah, no, it's still on.
He hasn't figured out this is just a whole setup.
This is a question for the president. Gene was the point person on the BSA renovation project. Are you concerned with his departure having a potential effect on that project's progress moving forward?
Well, I would be remiss to suggest that Gene leaving helps it. But at the same time, I've heard from many of our major university supporters, and that was the first thing they said is, don't worry, we remain behind the project, we remain behind the athletic program, we remain behind NDSU. And frankly, that project, I think, has come to the level of visibility and scope and impact on our entire community that I don't think anything's going to slow that project down. I would love to have Gene be here through its completion, but at the same time, that's a project that has forward momentum is going to compel it to go on to success and the exceptional finish that Gene's designed it to have.
What do you see as the next challenge for the new athletic director here?
Managing expectations. Obviously there's going to be, the building's going to, continue to make sure that moves forward. But the person coming in is going to have, which is great. This is what makes us all special. We love working here because of the expectations. I hope the person coming in understands what they're walking into. And then managing those expectations, both whether it be from the conference championships and national championships, but understanding that that's what they're going to walk into is a pretty high level of expectations, and I hope they enjoy that and embrace it because everybody in this room does, and that's what makes them successful.